Like many Durhamites, I like to support the community that I live in. I try to support local independent businesses and organizations. When I make my annual contribution to DCLT, I know that 100% of my dollars are going to stay right here in the very core of Durham.
So in 2018, I think when this project started moving forward actually as a package, we were seeing a huge push for all of these large property owners who owned a large package of properties, just selling them on the market, and high flipping possibilities which were pushing folks out. So they weren't rentals, they were turning into purchases that were flipped and turned into housing that wouldn't be affordable to the people that live here.
Yeah, Durham Community Land Trustees is one of the most well-respected nonprofits addressing affordable housing in Durham.
We want our community to be organized. We want our community to be sustained by livable and affordable housing. And so here we are.
Affordable housing is necessary in Durham. As you know, Durham is changing and the landscape of Durham is changing. And as it is, there are prices for housing that is astronomically high.
There's only a few affordable housing developers in Durham, and Durham Community Land Trustees came out ahead of everybody else.
Affordable housing is very expensive, but it's one of the most worthwhile expenses that one can possibly have. Because we are committed to permanently affordable housing, we subsidize each one of our units.
I am so amazed at the work that has been able to occur in such a short amount of time. It's even through COVID, with all of the stops and standstills, the fact that this is a project that's been completed and now is ready for the market. I'm really my heart is warmed knowing that I was a part of it.
The city of Durham has been a partner of DCLT since our inception. Periodically, it reviews the vacant lots that it owns throughout the city, and makes those lots available to nonprofit organizations like Durham Community Land Trustees. And most recently, we were awarded 3 lots in the Grant Street area of Durham, and these are lots that Durham can strongly advocated for to be built on. There were lots in their neighborhoods that were undeveloped, vacant lots, and they were attracting trash and other things.
The work that Grant Street leaders did in collaboration with Bishop Clarence Laney at Monument of Faith led to a number of different initiatives. This particular project has to do with research that began by the Grant Street leaders to figure out why there were so many vacant lots in the neighborhood. And they set about researching the property maps and the tax base to figure out who owned these vacant lots and what could be done about bringing them back into life in the neighborhood, because they had so much history and they remembered family homes and neighborhood homes that had been there. And that resulted in about a 4-year process by which the city arrived at a couple of lots that they were able to return to the community through donation to Durham Community Land Trustees.
My grandmother lived here for years until we moved further down the street to 713 Grant Street.
Hayti was a black-owned community. We had everything in Hayti we wanted. We had grocery stores, we had gas stations, we had the florists, we had barbershops, we had churches, we had movie theaters. It was a community. Anything you wanted, Hayti had it.
Sure did.
Until the late 60s, when the urban renewal came through. And when they came through, they tore Hayti down, plus our community.
You know, this community has been devastated, as we all know, by 147 and urban renewal. So I'm just really I'm just really honored to be part of rebuilding this area and be part of the healing, and I realize I have a very small part in it, but these 2 lots that I'm working on with DCLT, you know, I hope it's part of that healing process and people can feel good about what's being built.
Having more neighbors that are stable collectively builds on the community side, but then on the municipal side in the city, the more infill that we have that is successfully turned into homes that work for our community, the better able we are to continue to do that work. So the successes continue to build on one another. If we have 5 this year, we can do 10 next year. If we have 10 next year, we can do 20 the following year. And it just comes from the hard work and determination of folks in our community to get to this point.
So a few examples of DCLT's outreach and stewardship to our existing homeowners is we want to make sure that our homeowners are aware of opportunities that might benefit them. So when the city puts out a grant program that will help residents in this community pay taxes, we literally go door to door and make sure our homeowners are aware of this program, know how to apply for it, exactly how it would impact them. But most recently, we actually have provided some direct home improvements, capital improvements to our homeowners.
This is, like I said, this is where DCLT got its start from. We started here on Exum Street. All of the houses that you see on the right-hand side of the street were actually developed by DCLT back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
But there are a number of homeowners that are unable to keep up with those capital improvements that are needed on any home that's 30 years old. Several local churches have reached out to us to help with this, to provide support to our homeowners. One is Immaculate Conception.
A friend of mine reached out to me last spring, said that she was getting back a stimulus check. She and her husband were both getting back stimulus checks, and that they felt that they had not been impacted in terms of their income by the coronavirus, and they wanted to do something important with that. And we kind of came up with the idea of affordable housing.
Yes, ma'am, they came by and fixed that roof. Land Trust is really here.
We really wanted to do something that would make an impact. And we thought that other people in our parish would be willing to contribute too. So I reached out to Selena, and we had a few Zoom calls brainstorming about what we might be able to do. And she shared that there were some homeowners on Exeter Street, a couple that really needed some major repairs.
So DCLT started 34 years ago, and those homes that we developed 30-something years ago are in need of repairs. Are in need of major repairs right now.
They come back and fix our porch for my grandmother. This is my grandmother, Pearlie Yarborough. This is my grandmother. She's the oldest woman on this side of the.
And so we've been able so far to do 2 homes on Exeter Street, and we've been able to put out a new roof. And then we've had work days where parishioners have come out and helped rebuild, in both cases, the front porch on those homes.
We also, we reach out to the community at large. We're making decisions about, do we have a community garden in this community? How much community support can we get for that community garden in this particular community?
We're here for Dig for DCLT Day. It's an annual day that we have volunteers and the community come together to beautify the properties and beautify the neighborhood. Here on Ashe Street, we have our Ashe Street Garden Club.
The Ashe Street Garden Club is a community garden right on Ashe Street in East Durham, and we have a group that helps tend to the garden and does spring planting, fall planting, meets once a week to get together and work on planning for the future of the garden, harvesting the fruit and vegetables that we've grown and distributing them throughout the community.
And so we're cleaning up the garden, but we're also telling the community about what we plan to do on this site and some of our green infrastructure activities that we have planned.
I work with the Ellerby Creek Watershed Association, and we are out here today as a project partner for this site on Ashe Street. We are partnering with Durham Community Land Trustees to understand and construct some stormwater improvements on the site, including a pipe replacement of an underground stormwater pipe and installation of rain cisterns on some of the structures out here.
Growing your own food is great. It's much, much cheaper than buying it from the grocery store. And so our community garden is open to everyone in the neighborhood. They can come and they can plant, but they can also just harvest what's here. So it's great, not only for adults, but for children as well, to get the opportunity to grow your own food. Not everyone has green space available to them where they live, so this community garden is really important because it's the only one in the neighborhood.
We actually own over 50 properties here in East Durham, and they're on scattered sites throughout East Durham. There's always work to be done on scattered site properties. It's a huge task to maintain these properties, and of course, you know, as a developer of affordable housing, it's important to us that our properties look as good as possible.
Right now, we have very limited housing, especially for a lot more single family, not a lot of multifamily. And what the Durham Community Land Trustee brings is not just ownership, but they also support rental. And so I know that their eviction rates are like little to no like evictions at all. And they work really hard to work with the residents that are in the housing to keep them in it. If we could keep that going, if that model could be kind of sprinkled all around a lot more, even for the Durham Housing Authority, we would be in a lot better position.
We really need support on the financial aspects of our new construction projects. We're so excited about our CLT +1 home that we're going to be building. We actually start construction before May of 2022. And that home is going to be a model home that I hope can be replicated all around Durham.